everybody. I'm Lindsay Parker from Yahoo Music. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys for coming.
I know a good song when I hear it.
That's a damn good song.
And I like that song. That's my first time hearing that one. I like it a lot.
It's got a good beat. You can dance to it.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's got a good beard as well, I noticed in the video.
That video, when we were watching it just now, I looked out at the audience, and there wasn't a single person who wasn't smiling.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house.
That too. That just looked like it was so much fun. What was going on behind the scenes? You just...
It was so much fun. We've done our last handful of videos with the Rooster Teeth guys from Austin, Texas, and we're just pals, and they're so fun to work with. And more importantly, they get our videos done, and they require us for half of one day. And as we're approaching our 30th year as a rock band, time is of the essence.
Time is money. And before, when we spend 2 or 3 days on a video shoot, which had the budget of a large, nice house in Toronto.
The 90s.
Yes. Yeah. You know, it's nice nowadays to be able to work with people who have great ideas, execute, and away we go.
Well, since you brought it up, I can't believe it's been 30 years. I don't know, is that tripping you out?
No, it's actually really cool. We just did the most extensive Canadian tour we've done in over 15 years. We did... well, we got one show left. Our hometown show is the 37th show of the tour. And I don't know how well you know Canada, but there's like 8 cities in Canada. And we're doing 37 shows. So it's been an amazing tour. We got to some places that we haven't played in a long time, and we got to some small towns that we've never played in before. So it's been super rewarding.
So when is your actual 30th anniversary? Do you know the date? Was it the date of your first rehearsal, your first gig?
First gig, yeah. September 30th, I think. 88 was the first BNL gig.
So you're leaving.
How many of you are alive on September 30th, 1988? Oh, that's good. A few.
What are your memories of that first gig?
It was a really hot day. It was the sun was shining down on Toronto.
I spied Ty across the room and sent him a drink. I was timid at the time. What I do remember is that it wasn't actually originally booked as a Barenaked Ladies gig. I had a high school band, and we had won a regional battle of the bands. And then I thought, I should probably do a little bit of studying and see if I can get into university. Forgot about the gig altogether. And then I got a call from the woman organizing this gig. It was a fundraiser for a local food bank that had been planned like 8 months before. She said, "You're still on for the fundraiser, right? The organization is really counting on you." And I didn't have a band anymore. And I said, "Yes, still on." But the name of the band is changed, and now we're called Barenaked Ladies.
You just thought of that off the top of your head?
Yeah, and Steve and I had been bantering around some silly band names, never actually intending to be in a band. But then I got a gig, so I had to be in the band I made up.
Kids, the lesson here, of course, is just come up with a stupid name and everything will fall into place.
Yeah, drop out of school immediately.
So what are you planning to do are you planning to do anything for the 30th anniversary, a big celebration?
Well, I think...
What's the 30th? Is that 25th is silver,
like
right?
Bronze or...
Yeah, I don't know.
Paper.
So it's 30. Somebody Google it. What's the 30th? Like cardboard? Gypsum? Or gypsum anniversary?
It's definitely more than cardboard.
Yeah, 30 has got to be something interesting.
China, porcelain.
This is all made up by the Hallmark Company anyway. I don't think there ever was a historic thing. But
you have such diehard fans that once this goes out, people will send you gifts of whatever that material.
Pearls.
It's pearls.
Really?
Prepare to get a lot of.
Don't even make the joke.
Can't do that anymore.
So
no jokes.
Yeah. Anyway. So what we will do for the 30th anniversary as a band of 4 men is. You know what? I think we are doing the best thing we could possibly be doing to celebrate 30 years as a band. We put out 2 records this year. We're touring like madmen. We've got the Last Summer on Earth tour coming up this summer, touring with Better Than Ezra and KT Tunstall, 2 amazing artists. So I've been thinking about it a lot because the Canadian tour made me quite reflective.
What pearl of wisdom are you going to drop?
Well, I would say that, I think the best thing we can do to celebrate 30 years is keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Except I may adopt a new fashion style for the fall.
With
I'm going to wear hats, but I'm going to leave the price tag on.
Minnie Pearl did that.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Walked right into that joke.
I might get a new drum kit.
What kind, Tyler?
Pearl.
All right.
The world is your oyster.
Yeah. Very good.
There.
Amazing.
Glad you got that.
Lindsay, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well, you mentioned I want to talk about Fake Nudes, the 15th. Is that your 15th album?
15th album.
But before I do that, since you brought up the kind of impromptu way in which your band name came about, I'm sure you've been asked this, but do you have any funny stories of people who basically were disappointed when they saw the name Barenaked Ladies on the marquee and thought there was some false advertising when they saw 4 men, as you put it?
Honestly, I think it only happened one time.
Wow.
And it happened because we played in a theater that had recently converted from an adult show house. It's the only time I can recall.
I think we might be talking about a place called the Showbox
That's it.
in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Showbox.
And so a longtime patron, I guess, was unaware of the venue switch and showed up for the kind of entertainment he was used to. And
Tap dancing, singing.
yeah, rhythmic gymnastics.
Yes, magic show, rabbits out of hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only time I know of, and we're talking
I'm
like
pretty surprised by that, actually.
27 years
Yeah,
ago.
absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't happen as much. I think it's like the initial shock of the name kind of, it's like, way, like Fine Young Cannibals. Remember when they came out and everyone was like, that's a crazy name, or, but it was a great way to attract attention initially. Just right away, it's something you remember.
But since we've achieved U2-like success,
Yes.
the name has really just kind of vanished, and we're Queen. We're
Sabbath.
We're Black Sabbath.
No, it's true.
We're Boston.
It's true. If someone said, "Oh, there are Barenaked Ladies down the street," I wouldn't think, "Oh, women without clothes were down the street." I would think the band.
You would think
See,
the band, right?
We've successfully changed the conversation.
Absolutely. Well, I have to ask about the title "Fake Nudes." Is that sort of a tongue-in-cheek reference to the nudity theme, the band, your band name?
Total coincidence. We were, we were making the record in January at the transition. You guys, we didn't hear much about it in Canada, but you got a new president down here.
So I hear.
Think?
He makes the news once in a while down.
Yeah, honestly we don't hear that much about it up where we live. Anyway, it was kind of the beginning of that whole "you're fake news, you're fake news, you're fake news," and I said, "Hey, we're Fake Nudes," and we all laughed, and it was kind of one of those things, we kept it on the burner for a while, and we thought, we can't actually call the record this.
Change your mind.
Apparently
stuck.
we can.
It's stuck.
Yeah.
So, but you wouldn't say anything on this album is like politically minded, or are there certain songs, would you say?
There are, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of political material on the record. There's actually a lot of political material on all of our records.
Somehow, because of the humor, I don't know if people pick up on that.
It's true. Some people don't pick up on it, or those aren't the songs that become popular off the record. But, we've been hearing for 15 records. This is a much more serious record for Barenaked Ladies. But honestly, that material has always been there. Mm-hmm. We always carry ourselves with a sense of humor, but we always have something to say.
What songs on Fake Nudes would you say are the most message-driven?
Invisible Fence is one of them that Kevin sings. You could, I don't even have to explain it. It's, about building walls between people rather than trying to understand and welcome each other. It's about wall building. And is that really a good idea? Or it's about a dog. And the invisible fence, the thing they wear around their neck so they don't run off your property.
Take it however you want.
However, we've successfully changed the conversation.
Any other songs? I know Flying Dreams is a pretty serious song. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Flying Dreams is a song Kev wrote for his daughter, and it's an absolutely beautiful song. Havana has a ton of challenges and is an amazing young woman, and Kev wrote this beautiful song, wondering what goes on in her head, and hoping, as any parent would, that in her dreams she's flying.
Have you received any feedback from parents of children with special needs who are affected by the song?
We always do, actually.
Yeah.
We've played a benefit show in Toronto for the last couple of years for the school that Havana attended, and it's a community that we're very close with, and we've had lots of amazing feedback. Also, we did Neil's Bridge School benefit back in the day, and similar facility, and it's an incredible thing to support.
It's amazing the feedback we get about not just that issue, but anything that we touch on in our songs, So many people have come up and said, hey, I lost my mom recently or something, like, or I went through a bout of mental illness, and your songs helped me get through, or your concerts are, I used to come to your concerts with my dad and he's no longer with us, or, things like that. People take the time to go out of their way to let us know that, we matter to them. And in some ways, like when you're making a record, you don't think of that. You think of, making sure it sounds good, make sure you're singing in tune, it's in time, and that you're having a good time making it. You don't think of the broader reach, and that's one of the beautiful side benefits of this job, is you get to, meet people and affect them.
Well, your fans are especially devoted and diehard, some of whom have been around with you for 30 years from the beginning. Can you speak a little bit more about the
well, my wife, has really, she's really been a big fan of the band, and
very
for
loyal.
a long time. Yeah, very loyal. So loyal, I married her. Yeah.
My wife often says, "You're not a rock star in this house." Yeah.
In terms of your non-wife fans, the bond.
We don't have any.
I see.
We're married to all of our fans. They're all our wives.
It's
sentiment.
lots of people have been on a journey with us for a long time. People have seen over 100 shows. It boggles my mind. But it's also something that we don't take for granted. This far, 3 decades into a career, and I still get to play music. That's my job. I write songs, I perform for people, I feed off the energy that they provide and that I'm giving them. I feel grateful, and so it's something I've made a point of talking about on this last Canadian tour, is like, you guys arranged your plans to be in this building with us tonight. You got babysitters, you figured out a car or parking, whatever you did.
Parole.
You got parole. You spoke to your parole officer. No, it's amazing. It's really an amazing thing. It's as anybody knows who makes art, it's hard to find a fan base, but to have a fan base grow with you and follow you for close to 30 years is incredible.
I saw a tweet this morning from a guy that said, oh, your grandmother may be cool, but does your grandmother go 20 years deep with Barenaked Ladies? And he attached a letter that said, Dear David, I don't know if you still follow the band Barenaked Ladies, but remember I got you tickets to their concert years ago? Well, they were just on the Today Show today, and they have a new album out, and it's called this. Looking forward to seeing you at Christmas, David. That was, so grandma's still throwing down. So representing Barenaked Ladies. So wherever you are, thank you. Thanks,
Grandma. You mentioned, we were talking about the 90s, the heyday of the 90s, when music videos cost $500,000, and that was when you first kind of came to prominence in the mainstream way. What do you think has changed in the music business? That's been the biggest obstacle for you since then, and how have you dealt with that?
Well, the obvious change is the shift to online, and most people don't buy music these days. It's a lot of people rely on subscription services or just watching it on YouTube or however they consume music. So that's been a huge shift, and to a large degree, we just kind of keep doing what we're doing. You know, in terms of physical media, it's like, I guess we used to make buggy whips, and people don't buy buggy whips anymore.
The one thing we can control is our live show, and that's about it in terms of this business. You know, ups, downs, popularity, in and out of style, fashion, whatever else. But when we put on a show, we still put on a really good show, and that's what we have ultimate control over. And I'm kind of glad, because we can rely on that. You know, the shifting and changing ways music is distributed and consumed, we have no control over. But when we put on a show, we can still put on a show.
The other thing is ups, downs, and, you know, like you say, style, fashion. Like, when we were at the height of our success, we still weren't cool. You know, we had a massive record with Stunned. You know, we've sold 15 million records over the course of our career, but we've never been on the, you know, the cover of Rolling Stone or any of the cool places. We've had this incredible career kind of on our own terms and from our fan base. We were never cool, we were never fashionable, we were never the hot thing. We just became super popular for a while.
We're waiting. I think there's still a chance.
Yeah.
I think we can pull it off. I think we can be the hot thing and the cool and fashion. I think we can do it.
I don't recall when your star was first ascending. Were people like? Did you get a lot of flack, a lot of heat for people saying you weren't cool? Was there a backlash? Eventually?
The word novelty act got thrown around a lot because we had humor in our music. But sure, we presented ourselves in a pretty goofy way at times. We kind of, you know, defaulted to the goof whenever we could. We do that less now, but you know, we're also older now.
Yeah, that video was really...
Yeah, really
Very serious.
Yeah. Did you see the look of anguish on my face for being stranded on a desert island for approximately 7 years or whatever it was? You know, some of my favorite music also has humor in it, whether it's the Beatles or, you know, the Beastie Boys or Beck.
Yep.
You know, any other band that starts with B.
Boston,
hilarious. More than a feeling, it's a laugh. But it's the, yeah, it has. There's humor throughout. I don't think sometimes people get afraid of it, whereas I think it's the element of some of the best music I've ever heard.
It's almost kind of like acting. If you do some serious role where you play someone, you know, a historical figure or something, you get all the Oscars and everyone thinks you're Meryl Streep. But if you do a really funny role in a goofy comedy, people don't take that as seriously.
And yet, so many comedians that transition to dramatic roles do so well. You know, whether that's Steve Carell or
Jim
Adam
Carrey.
Sandler, Jim Carrey.
Well, would you say that is the biggest misunderstanding then against Barenaked Ladies, that you are? I can't imagine you still, after 30 years, get that kind of novelty act tag now.
I think people still misunderstand the band, but who cares? It's like, I also recognize that people only have so much time in their day. And if I hear something that doesn't immediately grab me, I don't go, well, I'm going to research the deep cuts on all their records before I write them off.
Yeah.
You know, I realize people don't have a lot of time in their day. I think what really wins people over for us is when they see us live. Then they get it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm super happy with the people that have found us. And what can you do?
I'm super happy with the fact that this building is about to collapse. Really happy with that.
One last question. Oh my God. One last question regarding the touring. You said you guys are still touring like madmen, and you have been doing this for 30 years. Life on the road can be tough. You know, it can be exhausting, even if you're touring at a certain level. What's your secret? What's your number one tip for like staying sane on the road?
Eggs Benedict.
Why so?
It's delicious.
That's true. Good answer. That's
Honestly, the secret is we communicate with each other. We find a great coffee joint, and we find a good place to eat, and we go there.
So we're going to have, take it away.
Hi. My question is, you guys have been creating for so long, which is amazing and inspiring, and you have so much music and so many new ideas. Have you ever thought about creating for Broadway or live theater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried for a while, and we actually spent a lot of time here working on something I probably can't talk about. I could see it being really fun. The project we were involved in, we put a lot of effort and heart into, and it didn't end up.
That's the producer of the show up there.
It didn't end up going anywhere, which was a little bit heartbreaking because we put a lot of time into it. But when I see things like Waitress, and Sarah Bareilles did like such an incredible job on those songs. I've seen that show 3 or 4 times now. She probably thinks I'm stalking her, which I'm not. I just I love those songs. And
Sarah, watch out.
it's the spirit of what makes her songs interesting put into a great story. So I think it would be possible for us to write something really cool. But maybe once bitten, twice shy.
I think if the story is good, if the book is good, I think we could knock it out of the park. I'll leave it at that.
Hi, being a Canadian-based...
Sorry, that's all we have time for today. I'm kidding.
Being a Canadian-based band, does that cross over when you go to other countries, and does the culture follow you, especially when you have references in your song, from people who aren't Canadian?
Canadians,
Are you a Canadian person? Huh.
Yeah. Canadians are the most patriotic when they're outside of their country, right? We see a lot of Canadian flags and things like that. I think people are really proud. You know, we see it when we're in the UK or in Europe. There's definitely people are like, yeah, I'm from Kitchener, Waterloo, man. You know, things like that. And they really want you to know that they're there. And it's like, yeah, okay, I saw your flag, and now you're blocking all the entire audience. Please put it down. I think people have a sense of ownership and pride of the band, definitely Canadians. And I don't mind that.
No, it's great.
Now we have time for one more question.
Okay.
Emily, your biggest fan's going to ask you a question. I have a question. She wants to know, what is the meaning of the song Light Up My Room?
Oh.
Oh, Mom, you're so embarrassing.
We have a song called Light Up My Room. Do you like that song? Okay, so Light Up My Room is about when people are attached to places that are not necessarily good for them. It was kind of inspired by
Dairy Queen?
kind of the like Love Canal notion of a place that actually becomes toxic, but for the people who live there, it's home and they don't want to leave. And then we were thinking about neighborhoods that have power grids running over them, and there's some dispute and uncertainty about what all of that environmental influence of electricity over you all the time. I'm kind of a science nerd, so
I always thought it was in spite of the danger that's around us all the time. Like, we're all living in a relatively dangerous place, no matter if you think it's safe or not, that love can flourish, life goes on.
it's that too. It's that too. But it's about, for me anyway, the song is about not wanting to leave home, even if home is not the best place for you to be.
Right on.
You accept?
I accept it, yeah. And not being a writer on the song, I accept whatever the hell horse's mouth, you know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Thank you for that question. Thank you guys for being here. Happy Pearl anniversary to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.